Hi everyone, and first of all, welcome to my new channel. Since this is the first video that I'm filming for this channel, I wanted to introduce myself really quickly. My name is Claudia. I am a licensed real estate agent in Chicago, and I am obsessed with all things home. Renting, buying, decorating, hosting, and making sure that you love where you live regardless of your situation, especially right now. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you subscribe for more. To kick things off on this channel, I figured I'd start by talking about something that I'm going through right now and that you might be going through right now as well, and that is moving. I am moving in a couple of weeks and I'm starting to pack right now just to make sure that I get ahead and I'm not scrambling at the end. So I figured I'd make a video with some packing tips for you, since I feel like it can be really easy for things to fall through the cracks in the chaos that is moving. So before we get started, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and let's get into it. Purging should be the very first thing that you do. You don't want to just throw everything you own into a box and then bring that box with you to your next place, even though that is obviously the easiest route. But moving is supposed to be like a fresh start, so you don't want to be bringing a bunch of junk with you that you literally don't need. For example, underneath a sink. You're about to see underneath my sink, and I'm very sorry, but it needs to be done because a lot of stuff under here is probably expired, probably like empty contact boxes, a bunch of stuff that's like actual garbage. So we just have to go through everything and see what's trash and see what's not. I have an actual trash bag here with me, so I usually will just do one bag that's garbage and one bag for donations. I probably don't have anything to donate underneath this sink, but for clothes, I always do that. And then once I know that I've gotten rid of everything I'm not going to be bringing with me, then I will start the packing process. But first, we have to go through the darkness to see the light. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here's everything I pulled out from under my sink. A lot of it already went in there, but I still obviously have a lot of stuff to go through and decide what I want to keep, what I want to toss. My camera died, but here is the finished product. Threw away so much stuff and then just got rid of things that I don't use anymore. And here's what we're left with. So I'm just gonna keep it under here for now until I'm actually ready to put it all in boxes. Don't put off packing until the last minute, okay? Give yourself plenty of time to decide what you want to keep, what you want to get rid of. And I feel like moving can be so hectic and crazy because you think you have all of this time, and then all of a sudden, you know, work becomes a shit show out of nowhere. Your movers are coming in 3 days and you have nothing packed. So I would say start by packing things far in advance that you know you're not going to need on a daily basis. So for me, I'm packing up my board games. I do not need these on a daily basis. So I'm putting them in a box, and then as the days get closer and closer, I'll start packing the things that are more essential as my move date gets closer. So, you know, let's start with my board games, my art supplies, my office supplies, and then move towards things like the clothes I wear on a daily basis, my toiletries, things like that. And then the very last thing I'll pack is a bag or a box of the things that I'll need for my first night in my new place, and that's my next tip. Pack a separate box or bag or suitcase or whatever you need for your very first night in your new place. This could be pajamas, toilet paper, toiletries, your phone charger, whatever you think you might need. That way you don't have to unpack every single box the day that you move just to find your toothbrush. Also, if you're using a box, make sure you label it so that it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. You could also just pack up a suitcase like I did, as if you were just going on a trip, because you would have all the essentials that you needed, and you're likely going to be packing it it into a suitcase that you would be bringing to your new apartment anyway. So that way the suitcase isn't empty and just taking up dead space. Let's talk about packing supplies other than the obvious, just boxes, tape, bubble wrap. I would recommend getting some sort of box cutter or slicer like this. It makes it so much easier to open up the boxes. You can obviously just use scissors, but I personally feel like scissors are harder to maneuver, and slicing the boxes just makes them so much easier to break down when you're done. Also, if the box that you're using doesn't have handles in it, you can actually cut a little bit of a space for a handle, which is going to make carrying these boxes so much easier. And also make sure before you tape up and shut a box for good, make sure that you can lift it if you're going to be the one carrying it. You don't want to buy giant boxes, stuff them so full that you can't even carry them. So before you tape them up, lift it to make sure you can carry it, and if not, you'll just want to take some stuff out or get smaller boxes. Also, when you're labeling your boxes, make sure you put the labels on the side of your boxes instead of on the top, because then when your boxes are stacked up, you're not going to know what's in each one of them. So put them all on the side, and then once you're stacked, you can see all the labels, see what you have packed, and see where everything needs to go. I don't want to buy a ton of bubble wrap because it's expensive and it's not good for the environment. So I'm just going to be using some old towels that I have to wrap up some of my glassware. Also some old t-shirts. And you can also use this to pad any boxes or bins. That way you have nothing rattling around. They say if it doesn't shake, then it won't break. So you can give your box a little shake, and if any of your valuables are shaking, make sure that you wrap them up tighter, stuff the box to make sure that nothing's gonna break in transit. Keep your screws and hardware in a separate plastic bag. If you have to disassemble anything or you're taking something off your walls, you don't want to lose the screws, and it's so easy to do. So just put everything in a separate plastic bag and label it so you know what item it goes to. The same thing goes with your cords to your TV, your Fire Stick, any remotes that you might have that you don't want to get lost. Put them in a bag, label it, and then put all of your cords and hardware in a separate box. You can also just tape them to the item that they belong to, but I'm always worried that they're gonna fall off and get lost forever. So I personally like to have a separate box for screws and cords. Also, if you have, a gallery wall perfectly hung or a bookshelf perfectly styled and you want that exact same feature in your new place, take a picture of what it looked like, because that way you're not going to forget when you move. You know exactly where everything needs to go and you're not wasting time trying to figure it out. So obviously if you're moving, the first thing you think of to get is boxes, right? There are a lot of other ways to pack up that don't include boxes. I actually saw this hack and I wanted to try it. So it's kind of like using a vacuum bag, but with a garbage bag and a vacuum instead. So you just place all of your clothes into a garbage bag and suck the air out using your vacuum. And this will compress your clothes so that they take up less space, meaning you won't have to purchase as many boxes. Or you could just take the vacuumed bags and stack them up in a suitcase or a storage bin to utilize any extra empty space. And this way you can just reuse those garbage bags once you get to your new apartment for garbage. Just put them under your sink and you can reuse them. Another thing I want to mention is figuring out what furniture you're bringing with you and what furniture you're leaving behind. So my biggest recommendation here is measuring out your new place so that you know what you're bringing is going to fit. Make sure you have all of your measurements ahead of time. That way you can sell whatever you're not bringing or whatever's not going to fit, donate, schedule a donation pickup, something like that. One thing I've always liked to do when packing my clothes, especially in college when I was moving multiple times a year, was just to put garbage bags over my hanging clothes, tape the hangers so that everything wasn't falling off, tie the garbage bag at the bottom, and then just take my clothes with me to my next destination. The garbage bag's gonna protect them, make sure they don't get dirty, obviously. But then I can just hang all of my clothes back up in my closet instead of having to take everything off the hanger, pack up the hangers. Anything that's already gonna be hung up, I just leave hung up. And it saves so much time and space when packing. So that's it for today. I hope these tips helped you in your packing journey to maybe make things a little bit easier, smoother, less chaotic. And if you have any additional packing tips, make sure you leave them in the comments below for other people going through the packing process right now. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well to see more of my new place, and I will see you soon. Bye.